Hi guys, hi again. So it's Szabolcs here again, and I'm speaking with him about Katori Shinto Ryu, which he's practicing and teaching in his dojo in Budapest. Welcome.
Hello.
So, to start with, could you please speak about how you got involved with Katori and what were the beginnings?
I started Katori about 23 years ago, but 10 years ago I made official relation with Sugawara Sensei, Sugawara Tetsutaka Sensei. He's one of the lead Katori instructor in the world now. So from that time, I have been practicing his Katori system. Actually, his Katori system is very traditional, one way. So if you see the main lines of Katori, there are not so many like in Aikido, for example, in Aikido. There are quite big differences between them. But if you see the main line, which is the Otake Hombu Hombu Katori line, sorry, Sugada Sensei's Katori is very similar in forms. Actually, he was the student of Otake Sensei.
So
But,
it is actually Sugawara-ha, right?
yes, because he got the license that he can do his own line, and he has this kind of permission. Yes, but the other side, Sensei, who is a really big researcher of martial arts, after some years of practice, felt that something is missing from the Katori, from the Japanese Katori, and he started to practice Chinese martial arts, Tai Chi Chuan and special martial arts. And when he got the essence of these systems, he put it back into the Katori, and that's why the Sugawara Katori system is very traditional, one way, and recognizable, and very soft from the other side. It is not typical Japanese.
So actually, Otake Sensei, he died quite recently, right?
Yes.
He was one of the most famous traditional Japanese martial arts teachers. So it was kind of a big thing. So there was, my understanding is that from the Otake Sensei's line, he gave license to Sugawara Sensei, and there were, I believe, at least one other person which has, and there is, I guess, his son as well, right?
There are some problems now in the Otake line. Actually, it's different because the Soke is responsible for giving licenses to the high level students.
But the Soke doesn't practice, right?
Yes, now he doesn't practice. As I know, the Soke's son now he's practicing. But maybe there will be big changes in the Katori world in some years. But Sugawara Sensei got this license not from Otake Sensei but from the Soke, as other instructors who also got it.
And I believe there is also Mochizuki Sensei also kind of has a separate lineage, right? And also Sugino Sensei?
Sugino Sensei, right? Yes.
So Sugino Sensei he came into Katori, I believe, thanks to Kano Sensei's Kobudo Kenkyukai, right? Kano Sensei, the founder of Judo, he made this organization, I think it was Kobudo Kenkyukai or something like that was the name, where he had his students or selected students to practice some of the traditional martial arts to kind of enrich judo and also to maybe to help those all the traditions to survive. And I believe Sugino Sensei was one of these. I'm not sure about Mochizuki Sensei if he came through these organizations as well.
He practiced judo as well, and karate also, and aikido too, as I remember.
Yeah.
But Sugino Sensei probably he also practiced some aikido.
Yeah, both of them actually. Well,
Yes.
aikido. Well, Mochizuki Sensei practiced in the early days when it was not called aikido yet. It was aikijutsu or different names.
Yes.
So if you were to introduce, because I guess there will be some people watching this video who don't have that much experience with these traditional martial arts. So if you were to explain what Katori Shinto Ryu is, or actually the full name is Tenshin Shoden Katori Shinto Ryu, is that correct, or
Yes.
how is that? So if you were to explain this to someone who doesn't have much experience, how would you describe it?
Yes, Tenshin Shoden Katori Shinto Ryu is the official name, but it is usually used for the main line, for the Otake line. That's why my line is called Sugawara-ha Katori Shinto Ryu. Katori Shinto Ryu is a system which was born in 600 years ago, born 600 years ago. And it means that in those days, when real fighting were in Japan, that's why in this system we use a lot of weapons. If you see behind me a little bit, I let you see it. There are different weapons. For example, of course, there is the bokken, wooden sword, naginata, which is the long staff with the blade.
I think that's called in English halberd or something like that.
Halberd, yes, that's halberd, yes. And bow, rokushaku bow, 182 centimeters long. We use 2 swords, short swords, and yes, that's it. And we use bokkens in different levels too. The first level is called omote, which is from big distance. The 2 practitioners with the wooden swords are practicing from big distance.
So there is no contact between them?
There is contact. Actually, it's a very strong contact, but they jumped in, they moved back,
Okay.
because it is against armory fighting.
So that's why you actually do the furikaburi like that, right?
Yes, that's true. And then we are getting closer, very close to the other, and it's on high level. And you can do it if you are very soft, you are relaxed, and very dynamic. So there are 3 levels how to use the sword. And also with naginata is the same, and also with bow is the same. And on the top of the Katori system, there are the weapons: 2 swords, short swords, and yari. Yari is the spear. These weapons are really difficult, very difficult, how to use them. Yeah, but that is the complete system. Sorry, just one more thing, that beside this, in the old times, they also studied inyo, so the strategy and some other stuff, not with weapons, that a real fighter had to know about these. But now I don't practice these disciplines.
But you practice in your aikido.
Actually, yes, something like that.
So what I wanted to ask about was, I saw you were doing some iai jutsu as well with
Yes,
like
iai
iai
jutsu.
to. So that's also part of Katori Shinto Ryu, right? Or
yes, I didn't say that. Yeah, we practice with with sharp swords too, but just alone. It is called Iai Jutsu. Iai Jutsu is the previous one of Iai Do. It is the classical Iai.
So does that mean that you're doing also the tameshigiri and stuff like that, or?
Not. I did tameshigiri. Sometimes we do tameshigiri, but that's not the main point. Tameshigiri is just the test how to use the body. But if you focus more than it is necessary, you think that with a very, very heavy sword you can cut anything. But that's not the main point. If you are thinking about fighting long, for example, on the battlefield, you have to be very soft and just cut as minimum as you have to.
Yeah, and depends what you cut.
Actually, yes, but with
Here, you don't need you. This is enough, right, for this kind of areas.
yes. With your sword is just enough with the cut, so you don't have to cut the enemy through.
Yeah, make him into 2 parts.
Yes. So there's a very interesting story. It's not a Katori story, but my teacher told me about a different school in which they also practice tameshigiri. Tameshi, you understand that it means test cutting, and they don't cut. How do you say this? Wara in Japanese is
It's like the straw.
straw or something like that.
Wait,
Yes.
the top stuff of tatami, right? The top.
Yes, yes. They don't cut that. Actually, the teacher cut chopsticks on the water. They put chopsticks on the river and they cut it there. If you think about that, you can imagine that this is really difficult. There is no resistance. You have to move fast. Very short movement can be effective. So I think in tameshigiri in the same way. Just cut with a short movement but very powerful movement from inside and cut the object.
That's interesting. So how would you cut a chopsticks on the water? I guess you would have to do this, right? You cannot just, because then it has to be.
Yes.
Because there's like the cutting, like slicing meat, and there's the chops. Chops can work on, I don't know, cutting artery or whatever, but then for some other stuff, I guess you need to have that cutting.
Yeah, it's not a regular practice. As I know, that teacher could do that, practice just this way. But it's just a different point of view about it. Like to cut big.
That's interesting. I spoke with someone who also practices Katori, but in a different lineage, with different line, and he was saying that they do also Shuriken Jutsu.
Yes, Shuriken Jutsu I also practiced quite a lot. I like it very much. It's a different, just for who doesn't know that. It is how do you say in Japanese? I mean,
it's a Bo Shuriken is basically
yes,
like a chopsticks,
yes,
right?
Yes, in Katori is a little bit
This is a
shorter.
chopstick.
Yeah, a little bit shorter and more fat. Yes, and how you should throw it, just bend only 90 degrees, so do not spin. Any distance, you have to throw it directly to the target. Just one, how do you say, bend.
So basically, it's like it goes like this.
Yes, and straight. Yes, that's it.
And then, so that's in some systems that's called the Jikidaho, and then this is called the Hantendaho, when it's like that for longer distances. I'm not sure if that's also in Katori, but in some like Shuriken Jutsu systems, they do. I would like to ask about the levels or the grades, or the belts, whatever we call it. So how does this work in Katori? Which system is Katori using for the grades?
The Sugawara system is very simple and very traditional. There are only two grades in this. First is the Mokuroku, and the second one is the Kyoshi. Mokuroku means in English is just
It's like a
list.
catalog of list of techniques.
Catalog,
Right?
yes, a list. You can get it after 4 or 5 years, and that's not a high grade in Katori. You just get the list with the techniques which had been practiced by you. That's all. And after 5 years, you can get the Kyoshi, which is mean teacher. So that's
And the Mokuroku, is that a makimono? Is that like a scroll?
Yes, it's a scroll. Yes.
How long?
It's something like that. Not very long. Just I cannot show you now, but yes.
Because I saw someone from a different Katori lineage. His scroll was, I don't know, like 8 meters or something like that.
Really?
But I'm not sure what level that was. So yeah, he practiced, I guess, more, maybe 10 years or something like that. I'm not sure. I don't know the details because obviously we couldn't look that way. He would be very kind of protective about that, so we had to kind of stand away and look other way when he was studying his scroll.
But I would like to say to you that I practiced in this system quite a lot, but I understand that it would be better if we put some grades before the Mokuroku, and I started the system with two levels. The first one is a basic. I call it in Hungarian basic, which contains basic movements for beginners. It lasts about 6 months, and they study how to cut, how to defend, and some basic forms also. After this, they jump to the Katori level in my system before the Mokuroku, when they practice just omote, which is sword against sword, and if they finish, they take a test. And when they can pass the test, they jump to the second level, which is the bow. They practice just bow, and then gokyo, which is the higher level of the sword, which was mentioned before, and then the naginata. This is 4 grades, something like that. And if they can pass it, they can be Mokuroku after a while. It lasts about 4 or 5 years to get the Mokuroku in this system.
So they start with sword against sword, or first they start just to learn how to cut and how to hold a sword, right? Or
yes, but also in partner practice.
Partner practice.
Yes.
And then you said it's bow against sword, was it? Or?
Yes, bow and swords.
And then
the naginata, gogyo, it's sword against sword.
Okay.
And
then it would be naginata against sword. Is it are you studying the use of naginata or the use of a sword in this?
Katori is sword concentrated system. That's why you use sword against other weapons. But when you start to study a new weapon, for example, naginata, you try to understand the character of that, which is different from the previous ones, and then you fit it against the sword. And yeah, you should be the expert with the naginata and the sword of the naginata too.
So how old people have to be able to start studying in your dojo? For Katori, I mean.
Yes. Usually adults come, but sometimes I let some kids participate on Katori training. It means that about 15, 16-year-old kids can come. So not very young, it doesn't work, but young teenagers can come. But usually it is 90% are adults.
What are what is their motivation to learn these arts? Because obviously they will not just go somewhere on the street and chop people with a sword. So what is usually, if you speak with them, what do they usually say? Why they want to join?
We talked about the benefits of the martial arts, studying martial arts. These are the same motivations, I think. But also it's very interesting in Katori. It's a very traditional way. You use traditional clothes and uniforms, and the Katori is a very concentrated martial arts, because if you stand up against a sword, a wooden sword, it is a very frightening, very thrilling situation if you concentrate on that. And yeah, probably this is the atmosphere. It's very interesting.
So when someone would like to join join your dojo, could you tell us, like, well, first of all, where it is, where in Budapest they can find your dojo, but also can they just come in? Do they need to fill in any form beforehand, or what is the process?
Yeah, actually, it's not very simple to join the dojo, because for adults there are a basic course with an exact date when they can join. But yes, you can find any information on our website, which is the Keiko.hu. Yes, you can join, you can test it, and everybody is welcome. So please come and train with us.
Thank you very much, Szabolcs, and hopefully at some point in the future we'll get to speak again on some other subject.
Yes, thank you very much for the chance.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.